All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Cullah here for Cullahcast number 40, live at Tube Studios. I got two distinguished guests with me here today that I'm very excited to chat with. We got the legendary Willy Porter and Jason Klagstad, some Wisconsin legends here in the house. Super excited to be here. Everyone, give it up for these guys. What's going on? What's going on, guys? Thanks for being here.
Great to be here. Thanks, Cullah.
Yeah, love doing this with you. Thanks for asking us. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, I got no shortage of questions and ideas for tutelage from y'all because I am, as myself, a musician here in Wisconsin. But I wanted to start talking to Willy a little bit about, your amazing career that you've had here. I mean, you're from Mequon, right, originally?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Could you just, give everyone that might not know just a little skinny of where you've been and maybe now where you're going, maybe here with your new album, and you're on tour, too, as well, so...
Yeah, I've been doing all kinds of stuff. So new record comes out this summer. It's called The Ravine. It's a full band production, and I think it's my 11th studio record, 13th album overall, and I'm super excited about it. It's different than stuff I've done in the past. I'm taking a few more chances and writing longer form tunes, and it's been a blast and a journey to make it. But yeah, I grew up in Mequon and went to Homestead High School, and I went to Eau Claire for college, and then moved to Madison when the music scene was so incredible right after I graduated, and then started a series of residencies. So I would play every Tuesday at the Celebrity Club, which was just around the corner on Prospect in Kenilworth. And I did that for 2 years. And at the same time, I started a residency in Madison where I was hosting the Acoustic Music Jam on Sunday nights at the Club de Wash. And those two residencies really started my touring life. And that's how I sort of created base camps in both towns. So that's led to now. And I've got lots of stuff upcoming, going to the West Coast through Colorado, and then going to Nashville at the top of next month, and getting to Atlanta and then the East Coast, and go to Ireland this summer. So I've been very fortunate.
Yeah,
long answer.
There's a lot. There's longer things that we can get into for sure. So what you've been... I saw that you first release was on cassette. Was that right? Maybe in the 80s?
Yes, it was. 1988. Yeah. I was in college, and a guitar builder asked me to record a couple of tunes. Gordy Bischoff, who I've worked with for many years now. And that resulted in a demo. And then I immediately graduated from when I got done with college. I found a booking agent right away using that demo and some other things. So, I was very clear about what I wanted to do. And so when that happened, I knew that was a way in. If this guy's going to finance a couple of recordings, then I'm going to turn it into some sort of project that I can try to monetize or get out in the world with, So.
Yeah, that's the challenge that every musician's faced with.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so, for those who don't know, you almost need no introduction. I was blown away. I'd heard of you. Of course, so many people had said it, and my mom and dad always be like, "Oh yeah." I have a little sister, like I mentioned to you, who we have to give a shout out to Norma Cullah and Georgia Porter, because I remember them saying, "Oh, you should talk to Georgia. Her uncle is Willy Porter." I was like, "Oh." And of course, I'd see your name everywhere and stuff, and people would talk about it. I think even some of these Tube Studios guys, when they went and told their family about today, they'd be like, "Oh, so you guys aren't just messing around anymore. You're actually talking with some legitimate professionals." And
it's a good thing Jason's here to represent that community.
I'm like a cigar store.
Yeah, so Jason,
oh goodness, no.
I was going to say, you know how to use the guitar as well.
Yeah, I just tell people I'm a guitar player. That's all they need to know. I'm an inveterate sideman.
They usually start running the other way when they hear the guitar player.
I'm a sideman, and I love being a sideman. That's what I do best.
You're a great one, my brother.
I make people that I play with shine.
Yeah.
So, Dog Eared Dream, Mike Hoffman.
Yes.
The one you're about to complete or completed, Mike Hoffman, but...
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
Sure. Mike recorded Dog Your Dream at Victor De Lorenzo's place. And we did that in about a 2-week run back in the day, just up from Vitucci's bar, which we spent many a night at. And Mike just was able to capture the band having fun.
He sure did.
And I think that was what was so amazing about his sort of Zen brilliance, was that there was never judgment from Mike. There was only, that was great, or do you have another one in you? What do you think? It was never that part, you made a mistake right there. He never pointed out the crack in the architecture. He only added things to put more ornaments on the tree.
Sometimes a crack is where the light shines through.
Amen. Leonard Cohen. So I really have to say that it took me a long time in my journey to come back to Mike. And when I did, I was so grateful. We were coming out of COVID. He, of course, had it and had long COVID symptoms. So he wasn't as strong as I had seen him in the past, but his function and his utility and his ability and all of his musicality was in fine form. And so we were 4 songs into the record, and he passed. And that was incredibly hard for everybody, including yourself. Of course, he was in your band, and just a mountain of a man. But picking up the reins of the record took me 5 months. I was kind of rudderless there for a minute, because I was really enjoying where we were going and what he was getting out of me. I think a lot of perils of self-production are too much self-judgment, analysis paralysis, all of these things that we fall into because we're artists. We look at ourselves too closely. And Mike was so gifted at saying, it's just today, man. We're just doing this thing. We're just having fun. We're hanging out. Play me that song again. I love that one. Bam. And you get something out of this ether. So I tried to carry that forward, recognizing that was the momentum we had. I don't know if I got there or not, but I brought my whole band, Dave Adler, the genius that is Dave Adler, in.
Sure is.
Yeah, Dave Shepke, Eric Madunik, Carmen Nickerson, and Ryan Peterson, Ryan Pearl now, from Madison, to play on some stuff. And we just had fun. And I think we brought it to conclusion well. So Neil Dorsman's mixing it right now. We'll see.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Will you play with that band at the WAMI Awards show?
Yes, I will. Yeah.
I would love to have that.
To do
Will
that.
you do a couple songs off the album?
Yes, we will. We would love to do that. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to
man.
seeing. I love all those musicians. What a great group you have.
I'm so lucky. I mean, we've all worked with people that we love in this town, and there's so many great people. It's when you really look at this scene and this community, it's hard to choose.
It's true.
I mean, there's so many great players. So yeah, it's a embarrassment of riches.
So let me talk just a little bit about WAMI, if that would be okay.
Of course, yeah. I was going to just say.
So I'm going to break a little bit of news here, and the news is for the 41st WAMI Awards show, which is Sunday, May 21st at Turner Hall. There's going to be a couple of people that are going to achieve the Hall of Fame award, and the guy sitting next to me is one of them, Willy Porter.
Oh.
Greg Koch is another one, dear friends. Hildegard, who is arguably the most famous supper club singer in the world, sang before kings and presidents and everything. And then Bobby Hatfield, one of the Righteous Brothers.
Wow.
So you share that bench with those people.
Man, humbled, my brother, humbled.
And here's the news that I want to break. All that stuff is
wasn't it.
great. I'm not done yet. The best part is I have asked, and they have, I don't know why you guys have accepted it, but Willy Porter and Greg Koch are going to co-host, and each of their bands are going to play at the awards show.
We can't wait.
Wow.
Just it's going to be a blast. Thank you for the fine honor of inviting us to do that. And I know I speak for Greg when I say thank you.
Yes, I know you do. Also, so the 41st WAMI award show is just not an award show. In the last year, becoming president told me that I had to make some changes to be more inclusive, to be more statewide Wisconsin. So I went up to the internet machine and I took a look for the original mission statement from WAMI. It was from 1980. And what it said was that WAMI's mission was to connect as many of Wisconsin's state musicians as it possibly could, to educate where possible, to recognize excellence, and every once in a while, throw an award show. So what we have done, we brought in a third-party online digital voting system. I don't know if you're familiar with BroadJam.
I'm not.
BroadJam is almost 250,000 global users, and it's essentially Reverb Nation for songwriters. It does music placements all the time, and it talks to 7,000 Wisconsin musicians. They developed an online voting system with anti-cheating algorithms back in about 2003 or 5, and Academy of Country Music has used it globally for a decade. It is unhackable, and they have become our voting system, and because it's completely digital and online, it allows us to be hands-off with the data and the results. So for the first time, WAMI Award talks to the entire state. We do not touch any of the data. At the day of the award show, when we open up that envelope and say, here's the winner for this category, it'll be just the same surprise to us as it is to the audience.
That's great.
It's great. And so here's the really big surprise. We didn't know how this was going to go down. As of last night at midnight, round 1 ended, and round 2 is going to start in a week on the 29th. At the end of round 1, we had 55,000 votes.
That's incredible.
I know, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's a record times 10. What it means is the state is engaged. What it means is that because we've captured a lot of the data of the initial voters, we know that they are from all over the state. They're from Madison, they're from Fox Valley, they're from Eau Claire, they're from La Crosse, they're all over. We're talking to the state. One of the better things that happened recently, too, is I met with the president of NAM, the North American Merchandising. He's going to connect me with schools and the teaching staff of all the music schools, private and public, across the state.
That's great.
And we are raising money to give scholarships away to young students and recognize excellence in teachers. Another thing just happened is we're in our final stages of negotiating with Summerfest for a stage that brings Guitars for Vets and WAMI together with almost 100 young performers. The very first part, and pardon me if I'm climbing on a podium to just keep talking here.
That's great
but
stuff,
it's
man.
really good stuff. So the first part of every single day at Summerfest will be students in music schools around Wisconsin. They get to come down and play, experience Summerfest with their parents and teachers, and we give a small honorarium so that they get something for their performance.
I love it.
The second part of the day will be all veterans music groups.
Killer.
And the same thing happens. They get an honorarium. And then at night, solos, duos, and trios from all over Wisconsin who never thought they could play Summerfest. Great experience.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, so we're really looking forward to May 21st. I'm so glad that Willy and Greg are a part of it. But I'm here to predict that this is going to be one of the finest years in WAMI's history, and I'm super glad to be a part of it. Our board now has expanded to 22 people, mostly musicians, but there's a couple really good business people and lawyers and the back end, so that it's a robust, fully developed organization. And oh, by the way, more breaking news, I'm only going to stay a short time. What I want to do is I want to make sure that it's back on the roadway and doing things that it needs to do, and then I'd like to hand it off to a young man and a young woman so that it represents its community. So I'm super glad that you're part of this.
Wow, I'm really
grateful. It's a watershed year for WAMI.
Well, thank you, Jason, and thanks for your leadership. You know, it sounds like you're really trying to push it forward in some wonderful ways in your outreach and also the program base. So
I've been a musician in town for over 50 years, and it has given me a wonderful life and a wonderful career. My wife is a musician. My daughter's a musician. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to help them, the next generation, whoever they are, to connect and say, yes, you can actually make a career in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. It's possible. It's possible to do it through generations. So you can tell I'm passionate about it. It's true. I'm passionate about it.
I believe you.
Yeah. But why don't we, so enough about me. Let's talk more about, you brought a guitar.
Yeah.
I want to hear about that guitar. I'm a guitar player, guys.
Yeah. So this guitar is the result of about 15 years of working with a luthier from North Dakota named Kevin Miterman. And Kevin is a true polymath. He's a plastic surgeon, educator who lives in North Dakota now and teaches at the university, as well as is still a practicing medical professional. But he's also a really fine classical influenced Celtic guitar player and now guitar builder. And he's built stuff for Leo Kottke and John Doyle and myself. So I've been playing his instruments for a long time. And he would build one for me, and then we would make changes. And this is the guitar that has sort of been the evolution of that process. And it's really been a joy to work with him that way. So this is kind of my signature model, and I'm really proud to have it.
Can you tell me what's different, what's special? What did Moiterman do as a polymath to the string? Because I'm a guitar player. I want to know.
Yeah.
Seriously, what did he do?
So his conceptual understanding of material science is just extraordinary. So he developed ways to create super thin wafers of wood for the top, and then he used a bunch of carbon fiber sandwiches within the top. So the top is actually wood sandwiched with carbon fiber. That was how we started out. This is an all wood top now. But what's extraordinary is that he's used a very thin piece of wood, and then the bracing, which is traditionally wood, is actually a carbon piece that's encased in wood. So you get this incredible strength, but the guitar is very much alive. It's a very, the sustain is incredible. And then there's some different rods that are inside that are supporting this main central structure. So it's that use of the bracing that's really extraordinary on this instrument, and also his understanding as a player. So the neck is wider, almost more like a nylon string.
I can see that.
But not, so it's good for fingerstyle stuff.
Looks flat too.
Yes. It's a flatter radius, exactly. So it's a joy to have it. It really is. And it's fun because we've done so much work with a live PA where we compare changes and change one thing and go back and reset and look at how the guitar is performing, look at the frequency content it's generating, how controllable is it, how does it react with other bass wave forms in the room, all these kinds of things to try to get to a place of stability. So it's been a joy to work with.
If a musician out there was to want to play one of those, where would they go?
They would probably go to, I think there's one at the Milwaukee Guitar Collective right now.
That's what I think so too.
Yeah, over at Michael Cudahy's place. So yep, there's one there, and they can always go to Miterman Guitars. Miterman, of course, is spelled Muiderman.
There you go. Yep.
So yeah, that's the story of this one. And this one is, I've got one that's more recent. I used glow-in-the-dark dots that you can charge up with a light. I know you know. When you're standing on a dark stage and you look down, it's like, oh, shit, I was supposed to play a B flat.
I meant to do that.
Yeah. And the dots are really there to tell you where you should have been, Jason.
Right.
I wanted to share that with you.
I like that.
Yeah, man.
So, what would you like to go to a segment where Willy plays a guitar, or what would you like to do next?
Yeah, you want to. I mean, you got it right there. Yeah. I mean, I'm anxiously waiting to see what you can do with that thing.
Yeah. All right, man.
Just let her rip.
All right. This is a tune from that new record. So, thank you, Cullah. Thank you to your great staff, and thank you, Jason. It's just a pleasure to be here today. Appreciate it. This is called "Change Your Mind." Can you forgive the heart of a stranger for letting you down out of fear? Do you feel safe? Your hand on the trigger, even though you know the coast is clear. It doesn't matter what God that you see, if you're afraid of the time. Put down your weapons and let the music change your mind. We can change our minds. We can change. There's still time. The Dalai Lama said it, Dr. King and Jesus too. The biggest fight of your life will be you versus you. There's no enemy, just what we believe. Everyone on this earth deserves to be free. So why do I throw shade on everybody else for the problems I created? I can only blame myself. I'm gonna put down my weapons and let the music change my mind. We can change our mind. We can change. There's still time. Unclench my fists, stop trading truth for myth, and meet me in the future of this dream. Come on, meet me in the middle of the street. Give me the eyes of a child, and strength hope always brings, to be open to the God and everyone and everything. I'm gonna put down our weapons and step into the sweet sunshine. Come on, put down your weapons and let the music change your mind. Come on, put down your weapons and let the music change your mind. Your mind. Thank you. Thank you.
So that's on the new record, you said?
It is, yes.
And where, when can people expect that?
That'll be this summer. I'm still getting the mixing finalized, and then we'll start to roll out a couple tunes to the streaming platforms and get the word out.
Right.
We'll start our machinations.
Of course.
If you will. Yeah.
And it's going to be called what again?
The album's called The Ravine. Yes.
Very Mequonian thing.
Yes, indeed.
That's
where I grew up, in the Ravine.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Well, before we go, do we have any questions or comments from anyone that have been?
Heather Lewin says, "Love the direction that WAMI's going."
Nice.
Heather, yeah, Heather's great. Shouts out to Heather. Yeah.
And then there's a Kevin from Facebook that says, "Willie is a brilliant writer."
Thank you, Kevin.
No doubt. Awesome. Yeah, just one word from our friends over at System Seltzer here. These people are great. They're a local seltzer startup, and they're brewing out of Potosi, or I guess it's distilled, but they do. I'm sure you guys have all been in the situation where not everybody drinks, or not everybody can even eat gluten or any of that type of stuff. So they've developed a system where they have a 5% seltzer, they have a 0% seltzer, and an 8% seltzer. There's some former White Claw brand folks there that have been helping with that, and they came together to make System. And so I've been seeing them around, and all of us here enjoy it. So we got to give a shout out to them. Everyone, take a look online for System Seltzer. Had to give a little shout out to them.
Now I got to try some.
We got some for you if you want.
All right, I'll take some.
No doubt.
Boy.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, let's see. So we learned a lot about WAMI. There's a lot of knowledge that was
There's a
just
lot
dropped.
going on, yeah.
So for those who don't know, it sounds like some folks that are tuned in will know. I mean, it's been around for a while. Like you said, you looked back and you had to find the earliest thing, but it sounds like it's a whole new direction, a whole new leadership, gutted the whole thing. And now
It's a return to its original thing.
Right.
It's what it meant to do. I'm rediscovering it and giving it it's a rebirth.
Yeah.
And right now, this is so cool. So we had 55,000 votes as of the end of round one last night. But we also have about 1,000 members. And it's been many, many years since we could say that, because when I started out, there weren't any.
Wow.
So I'm really proud to be able to say that I was part of the team that brought this thing back to its original mission and original thought.
Well, yeah. I mean, like Willie said, thanks for your leadership on that, because I mean, even just me growing up as a musician and seeing that and always being like, what's that? And always feeling this sense of disappointment or some sort of like, what could this be? Or you want it to be something and it just wasn't. It wasn't, at least in my generation. So now knowing this and knowing everything you're saying, how coming out with this, with a bang, to let everyone know what the direction is, and yes, we can all come together as musicians and share.
I'm coming at it from the heart of a musician. I spent a lot of years also in a marketing company called GMR Marketing, which taught me the business back end of what I'm doing. But it's the 50 years of being a musician in the trenches, understanding the struggles that musicians go through, and wanting it to be better, not just for myself, but everybody, and especially the next generation coming up.
Well, very much looking forward to the WAMI award show. Was it May 21st?
It's Sunday, May 21st, 7 o'clock at Turner Hall. There will be 56 categories of winners. We're going to wind up giving away fewer on site so that we can fit into a 3-hour time block, because we're going to have 11 to 12 different bands and artists performing for the show. It's going to be all live streamed across a lot of platforms, but captured so that people will be able to share the entire show afterwards.
Awesome. So tickets are on sale for that. And for those who just witnessed Willie playing there just by himself, imagine we just found out here today that there will be a band, and we'll expect Willie to have a great presence at that show as a co-host.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, with Mighty Greg Koch. I mean, that's a recipe for a cartoon.
So you guys go back.
Oh yeah. I mean,
tell us about your history together.
Well, I think I met Greg in '93 or '94, and he was playing at a little club in town, and I walked in. And I introduced myself, and we just have been friends ever since. And he played on a record of mine in 1999 called Falling Forward. And that's when I really came to understand the depth of his musical genius, because we were in the studio together, and the producer, Neil Dorfsman, who's mixing my new record, would say ask Greg to do these great things like, could you put some more orange on that? And Greg would say, why, sure, I have plenty of orange. And then he would play this thing that was just extraordinary, out of his head. And the way his mind streams in real time, if you'll pardon the analogy to computer streaming, is so fast and so fluid to his hands. I don't know anyone who has those chops. I really don't. So I look forward to being with him. He's also got a great mind for history, and he's a brilliant man, truly.
Guy.
Yeah, and he's so funny.
I want to see
Hilarious.
the two of you guys on that WAMI stage,
Yes, sir.
just having fun with it.
Yeah,
I don't want a dry award show.
No, I don't think
wanna
we will. I don't think together we don't really know how to be dry. I think, I've I end up being kind of a straight guy, but that's just because Greg is functioning at this altitude that few of us can even imagine.
Altitude
So we
is
just
the
have,
right word.
let's just stay out of the way. I mean, the great man's coming through. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had the pleasure to see him at a Here Presents live session where him and his band were playing, which I believe just dropped yesterday. And I think they have a show here on Friday at the Cooperage.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
I didn't know what to expect. I was like, I always just go to them because I'm, they're never usually disappoint. And so I had no expectation. Walked in a little bit fashionably late, and it was ripping already. And his banter, like you were saying, he has that comedic genius, that stream of conscious. I'm like, does he have these things baked ahead of time? Or are they all just flipped? He's just always
his own, the Grisselicious lexicon that's his lexicon.
Wow.
He's invented this whole way of talking and describing, and it's all new. To me, it's a new language. It's just called the language of cock.
Well, that's going to be
Rhymes with chalk.
It does. It always does. Continues to.
Well, that's going to be an amazing event there on the 21st of May. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
And is there any last closing things we guys want to talk about before we get going?
If I had to say one thing, it would be please come to the WAMI show on May 21st. Tickets are now available at the Pabst Turner Riverside box office and on the WAMI website, wami.org. So please come to the show. The tickets are not expensive. GA, I think, is $29.95. We'd love to. So 12 performances, lots of awards given out, but mainly the great music community coming together to
indeed.
meet, to talk, and make music.
Love it.
Yeah.
Willie, what about you? You got any? When's your next show?
My next show is tomorrow night in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, CSPS. I'll be in Green Bay a week from this Friday at the Riverside Ballroom with my trio, and then Waukesha Civic Theater on April Fool's Day, April 1st, which I think we represent April Fools pretty well.
Where do people go if they want to check into what you're doing?
They can go to willyporter.com. Willy, of course, is spelled with a Y, W-I-L-L-Y, porter.com. And, all of the propaganda is there, as well as all the tour dates and all these things that we're excited to be adhering to.
Have you got another Live at the Bunker planned?
I do. April 8th, I will be live streaming Facebook Live Willy Porter music, and looking forward to that too. And I'm starting to think about bringing people in as guests. Hint, hint, Jason.
Nice idea. It's a bring Billy in.
Yeah, maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
Get some other kids in the neighborhood down there to play guitars and talk smart.
Talk smart.
I like it.
Well, I guess right before we go, I just remembered that I had to ask because it's something that's near and dear to me. As you mentioned, you're going to Ireland, and I did see that on your website, and I sent it to a couple of my friends. I was like, how do I get this job? Where it sounds like you're hosting a tour around Ireland, where 10-day tour or so, where you get about 20 or so folks that might want to come with you and just enjoy the crack along the way. From place to place. I studied at Trinity College in Dublin.
Oh, you did?
For a couple of years. Studied music technology, but it was music, fine arts, and engineering. So I spent a good amount of time there, at least those 2 years, traveling around and got to experience what it's like to be there, and the power of the tourism industry there, and the Americans and everyone coming. So to me, it was like, wow, this is actually quite an exceptional and fun thing for folks to be able to participate. Is that still open, or is that like a...
This year's sold out, but we're starting to work on the 24 trip, and it's a blast. I've done it for, I guess, 6 years now. And
6 years.
Yeah, we do 3 counties, and we stay in a B&B in each county for 3 nights. And all the music is curated at night. Yeah. So everything from singer-songwriters through to larger ensembles and stuff. And then the day, it's all natural history with really great local guides who are steeped in archaeology and anthropology, and so it's a tour for people who hate tours. Put it that way, because it's smaller, and the best part of it is you start out with these 20 people you don't know, and by the end everybody's really good friends.
Yeah, I bet.
And so I absolutely love it. I
After
love
some-
the culture. Everybody's so literate over there, and
Yeah.
you spent a lot of time there. So
Not enough.
yeah,
Not enough. But that, I mean, I was looking at that. I'm like, hey, well, it started making me think, like, oh, that would be quite a fun thing to be able to run that. So I'm sure you have a blast every time you're there.
I do. It's
Yeah.
a joy, man.
Musicians there are fantastic, and it was like you said. I mean, the culture is so deep and rich of the storytelling and the
Yes.
passing on from generation to generation, and the wit. It's not just the Cokes.
Oh,
It's the Porter's got some wit as well, and yeah, that's amazing. So I just wanted to I needed to mention that because it's such a cool thing
thanks, Cullah. Thanks for
from my
bringing it up,
perspective.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fun stuff. And yeah, I think what's interesting about it is that you'll be standing in line at a grocery store, and the woman behind you will be like, "Now tell us your story." And she'll just want to know, and then before you leave there, you will know that her daughter is dating a doctoral student, in some other county, and it's like, and you leave it, you feel like you're so enmeshed and brought into this culture in such a beautiful way. So, yeah.
Well,
Loved Ireland.
you mentioned the Celtic style of the guitar making and the different finger styles. I would imagine, like, I just started. Shouts out to Heather, to Lewin, who's helping me with some bringing in some more traditional Irish. I've been doing some like jiggy things, but more subconsciously. Now I'm actually intentionally going into it. Just tuned to Dadgad not a month ago, just to figure out. I've always been doing the open G, which is it's almost there, but starting to do that and realizing, how important those tunings are for the specific styles of music.
It's so interesting that the guitar is kind of a bolt-on to Irish traditional music that only in the last 30 or 40 years has it even had any sort of presence at all. So, I think that's kind of fun when you look back and see how different players figured out how to use Dadgad to bring the guitar in there as a rhythm instrument. John Doyle is probably my favorite Irish musician right now. I think him and Blackie O'Connell, the great uilleann pipes player. He's like Jimi Hendrix on the uilleann pipes. He's out of his
when
mind.
they do that weird modulation where they just go like a half step up and then get back down, sometimes it's just that'll get you.
He's a soulful cat. He's really something.
Amazing. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. We got willyporter.com, whammy.org, May 21st. We're gonna have lots of fun at that awards show. Thank you guys so much for coming and being a part of this. Shouts out to the Tube Studio for hosting this and running it. Always. We're gonna be back here at 7 p.m. later tonight with West Tank, another great Milwaukee creative. So I already did the last little bit, so I think we're good to go. So thank you guys so much for coming.
Cullah.
Thank you for being a part of this, and
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It's been great.
yeah.
Thanks, man.
All right. See you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. See you.